Hi everybody. Okay, I'm going to get right to the dream that I had. On Saturday, November 6, 2010, early Saturday morning, I dreamt that I was riding in the car with these people and we were going down to San Diego. But before we got to San Diego, we stopped at this little town where they have purchased this land. And I remember that this other lady came and kind of joined us, and she had this little piece of paper that she had written two sets of numbers on. It was like one set of numbers was like 7 numbers long, then there was another set of numbers underneath it, and she had it on this little scratch piece of paper, and she had been working with these scientists to try to figure out what these numbers represented, and they were coordinates of some kind. But all throughout the dream, she, was conversing back and forth with them, and they were trying to figure out what do these numbers mean, where is this location. So we stopped and looked at the land that these people bought, and then we went on into San Diego. And I remember I was just on the outskirts looking at, we were at some little souvenir shop, so I was checking things out there. And then we left San Diego, went back to this little town where the people had bought their land. But then we went back into San Diego. This time we went further in, and I saw, I just started admiring different parts of town. And I remember going past two churches, and I went inside one of the churches, and just as I was coming out, I saw a man. He was like a deacon in the church, and a really nice looking man. And he had his son with him, a little young guy, maybe about 4 years old, and he told his son, "Okay, son, it's time for you to go home with your mommy." And he said, "No, Daddy, I want to stay with you." And he said, "I know, son, but you have to go home with mommy." And I was so heartbroken in the dream that this family, was split up, and I couldn't understand why, this family had broken up like it had. And I was thinking to myself, that's a shame. This is somebody who's like a leader in the church, and he should be an example for everyone. But come to find out, after I left the church, I went walking down the street, and I saw the home that this little boy went to, and his mother was there, but she was living there with her boyfriend, her live-in lover, and she was still married to this man that was a deacon at the church. So I said, oh my goodness, it was adultery that, split up this family. So anyhow, I remember just going on further in the town, and then I was back in the car with this woman that had these numbers on her little scratch paper, and I remember the scientists calling her and telling her, well, we think this is the location where the big earthquake is going to happen. And we were on the freeway, but it was down south of where we were in San Diego. And then, so they said, this is where we think it's going to be. We've already told the people, and there was some kind of water plant or something where these people were preparing, and they told them, you have to prepare because the big one is coming. And so then, I remember we were riding on the freeway, and it was raining and windy, and there was on the side of the freeway this black sign, like you would see in front of a church, those little black signs with the felt background, and they have the little white letters saying this Sunday service starts at this time, or they have a message, posted there on the sign about the church, or, Happy Easter, that kind of thing. But on this sign, it had those same coordinates, those numbers that the woman had, and on her little scratch paper. And I was like, look, there's those numbers again. And she was like, yes, you're right. And all of a sudden the wind blew, and the tree branch that had been covering up the other part of the sign blew out of the way, and we could see what the coordinates meant. And there were two names of two cities there on the sign, and it said El Centro and Eureka. So the numbers were coordinates to these two cities, and we were like, oh my goodness, that's where the earthquake is going to hit. It's going to hit in El Centro and Eureka, California. And so when we saw the sign, she called the scientists, and they immediately began to spread the word. And there was another plant across the freeway from where the plant was, where they originally thought that the big one was going to hit. And it was just across the way from where they thought. So they told these people to prepare and to brace themselves because it was coming. And I can't stress enough or share the imminency of what was about to happen, this great shaking that was coming. And from what I saw in the dream, it was going to shake all the way from the south of California all the way up to the north of California. It was going to be a very great shaking. And I remember that I said, now that I know where it's going to hit, I have to tell my family, we have to prepare. And the words just kept coming, prepare. I have to notify my family, we have to prepare. And I remember I was back at home in the next scene, and I told my family, I said, we're going to get under here. My mom and my sister's youngest child got under one table, and then I was going to get under a big wooden table with my other niece and nephew. And I said, you guys just duck and cover and stay there, don't move. And that's how imminent it was. It could happen at any moment. It was coming very soon, but we knew at any moment it could strike. We just didn't know exactly when, but it was coming. And I remember seeing my dogs walking around. I wanted to pull them under with me, but they're animals, so they couldn't understand what I was trying to say. And I remember while I was waiting there, I said, well, let me go up and shower and wash myself so that I'll be ready I'll be clean when it hits. At least, I'll be prepared that way too. And then I remember going upstairs and I was praying that it wouldn't hit while I was washing myself, preparing myself for what was coming. And then I woke up. And I think the vividness of that dream, the intensity and imminency of what I saw really kind of jarred me yesterday. And I remember as I did shower that day, I was asking God to just wash every part of me, from the crown of my head to the sole of my feet, to wash my mind, wash my heart, wash my mouth, wash my ears, whatever I've done, whatever I've said to offend or hurt someone, to forgive me, Lord, just to prepare myself spiritually, and then to prepare in the natural as well, because you never know when things are going to happen, and you don't have to be in the state of California for a disaster to strike. And I'm not looking for disaster, and I'm not trying to preach doom and gloom. I'm just telling a dream as a dream. And apparently other people have been seeing similar things. And I tell you again, I was not thinking anything about any earthquake. I didn't even know. When I woke up, I looked up El Centro on the computer. El Centro is a city that is south of San Diego. In actuality, in real life, it's a city that's down south of San Diego. It's like right on the border of California and Mexico. And then Eureka is a city almost at the northernmost point of California, almost on the Oregon-California border. And Eureka and El Centro, I discovered, have both been very seismically active, and they both represent, I think, almost the ending points of the San Andreas Fault, which is, they're saying, is like 200 years overdue. Stress-wise, the stress of this hasn't been released. And so I don't say this to frighten anyone. I just say this to be prepared. Always be prepared spiritually, because you may survive and you may not. But if it's not your time, you're not going anywhere. But you always want to be ready. Even if no natural disaster were to strike, the Lord is coming. I mean, just always be prepared. Always be ready, to meet the Lord, because we don't know what will happen. But I just know that I love you all. I love the Lord. I love the people He's put in my life. And I may not always show it to them. I may be testy at times because I'm human. I will be the first to admit that I am not perfect, not in the least bit. I have my flaws. I have my moments where I have to ask God to forgive me and check myself, because I can act ugly at times. I'm human, I'll be honest. But God is gracious and merciful and long-suffering, and He's been very gracious to me, and I just thank Him for that, and I thank Him every day. And if you don't know the Lord, I encourage you to do so, to accept Him into your heart today, for tomorrow's not promised. But we do have a hope that we are looking for. The Lord is coming soon, and until then, there's work to be done here on earth. We have to tell other people about the goodness of God and about the salvation that He has offered through His Son, Jesus Christ. And we must build His kingdom while we're here, to do the things that He's called us to do, to exercise and use the gifts that He's put within us, whatever that may be. So God bless you all. I'm coming up on 10 minutes, so God bless you all. Thanks for listening, and until next time, take care. Bye-bye.